Deep dives and blue skies. Welcome back to Talking Blue with Nick, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talking Blue, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. I'll be your host, Nick. Today you are listening to episode 19 of Talking Blue. Today we're going to recap the Dodgers-Braves series that just finished. The Dodgers win 2 out of 3 against the Braves in Atlanta. Pretty good series. We're going to talk about it, break it all down. Before we get into it, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you prefer to watch. Have a lot of shorts that have been coming out that have been doing well, so thank you for that. Follow us on all social media at Talking Blue Pod, on TikTok, on Instagram, on X. More videos coming out there as well. One of my Freddie Freeman videos did very well on TikTok. The best video I've done so far. So again, thank you to all the people who watched and who liked. Us on Reddit as well at competitive-week8715. A bunch of people have been engaging on there. More stuff about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. A lot of people love to talk about Yamamoto on there, so that's really great. And then you can follow my personal X at Talking Blue Nick. I've been live tweeting, posting information. Some more people have been following me on there, so thank you for that as well. Let's go ahead and get into the series. Dodgers take 2 out of 3 in Atlanta, win the first 2, drop game 3, just ended about 30 minutes ago. Yoshinobu Yamamoto versus Grant Holmes. We'll go ahead to the 4th inning. Mookie Betts singled in this inning. Freddie Freeman then singled. Teoscar Hernandez walks. Then Will Smith comes up, hits a sac fly to right field. Will Smith's done that a lot this year and throughout his Dodger career. Dodgers go up 1-0. Mookie Betts goes deep in the 6th inning. One of my predictions that I got right. I predicted him and Will Smith. So both guys that I predicted to go deep did some good things in this game. Of course, Mookie was the one who backed me up. His 5th home run of the year. That's good to see because he's been struggling. 7th inning, Yamamoto is now out of the game. He gets through 6th. Kirby Yates comes in, leadoff home run to Matt Olson. So now the Dodgers are up just 1 run. It's now 2-1. That score would hold throughout the rest of the game. Of course, it was after a long rain delay. Evan Phillips would come in for the 9th inning. He would get Austin Riley swinging, Marcell Ozuna swinging after a Matt Olson walk. He gets Sean Murphy to ground out. Evan Phillips gets the save. Dodgers win 2-1. Yoshinobu Yamamoto for 6. Kirby Yates for 1, Tanner Scott for 1, Evan Phillips for 1. Yamamoto's final line, he goes 6 innings, gives up 1 hit, no earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Another dominant performance by Yamamoto. We're going to start with him, talk about him for a little while. Again, just an incredible start to the season, another dominant performance. It actually looked like early on in this game, Yamamoto might have been on his way to an even better start than he had in Texas a few weeks ago. That was his best start in this young season so far. He went 7 innings, struck out 10. This game he only goes 6, strikes out 6, but he had 17 swings and misses in the game, 17 whiffs. Against the Texas Rangers, he had 20. Yamamoto also had 14 through 4 innings. So through 4 innings, with his pitch count in a relatively good area, he was on his way to well over 20 swings and misses. Didn't get as many swings and misses the next couple innings, and of course he only went 6 innings. It seems he only went 6 innings, 91 pitches, because he's gonna get moved up a day. He's normally been starting on Fridays on 6 days rest. It looks like he's gonna go next week Thursday in Arizona. So 91 pitches. 17 swings and misses. Again, just an incredible performance by Yamamoto. Another dominant performance. He had 7 whiffs on the splitter, 3 on the four-seamer, 3 on the curveball, which was looking nasty, 3 on the cutter, which is really good to see as well, and then 1 on his sinker. Like I said, he only had 1 hit. He got through, I believe it was 5 innings without allowing a hit, then allowed a hit in the 6th inning. Just wanted to give some of Yamamoto's stats so far through his first 7 starts. Here we are in May. He was, of course, the pitcher of the month for April in the National League. Has the 6th highest K per 9 in all of baseball. The 11th lowest home run per 9 in all of baseball, so he's not allowing home runs. He has the 4th highest K percentage in baseball. He has the 3rd lowest batting average against. He has the 10th lowest whip. Has the number 1 ERA in all of baseball at 0.90. He has the 5th best FIP in all of baseball. And then when it comes to expected FIP, he is 2nd. So without question, a top 10 pitcher in the game, top 5 pitcher in the game, probably been the best pitcher in the game so far to start the year. I wanted to talk about some of his individual pitches so far. We talked about this before. A batting average against of 163 on his four-seam fastball. Again, he does not get many whiffs on the four-seamer because it has a 14% whiff rate, but a batting average against of 163 and a slugging percentage of 233. Now, there is luck involved, an expected batting average of 242, but again, that's not that great anyways. Expected slug of 345. Of course, his best pitch is the splitter. It's got a batting average against of 0.98, so under 100, and an expected batting average of 132. That pitch has a whiff percentage of 48%. Now, his curveball, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but his curveball has a batting average against of 273 and expected batting average of 267. Has a whiff percentage of 36%. So it's interesting. His curveball is really good. It has a lot of drop to it. We'll talk about some of those metrics in a sec. And it gets good whiff percentage numbers. Now, it has got hit around a little bit. Now, 273 is not too bad. It doesn't mean his curveball is getting hammered or anything like that. But hitters do fare decently well against it. So that's interesting to me because it's a really good pitch for him. Again, a slugging percentage of 318. So it's kind of just giving up some hits on the curveball so far. It's got a spin rate of 27, 22 revolutions per minute. Now, the cutter, again, his cutter was good the other day against the Braves. It has a batting average against of 333 and an expected batting average of 256. Does have a 34% whiff rate, so it gets swings and misses, but it's really the only pitch Yamamoto throws that's been getting hit. Batting average on his sinker is 222, expected 282. So there are some pitches that Yamamoto has been throwing that have been a little bit lucky, but the four-seamer has been really good. The splitter is by far his best pitch, one of the best pitches in baseball. Like I said, batting average against of 0.98 and a whiff percentage of 48. He's got a barrel percentage against of 4.4. His hard hit rate is down to 39%. His K rate's up to 32%. He's got an ERA of 0.90, like we talked about. It's expected 245. He also has the 2nd highest ground ball percentage in the game. So Yamamoto, can't say enough about him. He's been so dominant. We'll just talk about some of his pitch metrics so far. We've talked about his splitter before, so I won't go too much into that. But in terms of all splitters in all of baseball, it's got the 4th highest whiff percentage, the 4th highest K percentage. Batting average against, it is 0.98, which is 4th lowest in all of baseball. It has a slugging percentage of 176, which is 6th in all of baseball. The expected batting average is 132, which is 4th in all of baseball. The slugging percentage is 205, which is 3rd. So any way you slice it, his splitter is one of the 5 best in the game. Now I just wanted to talk about his curveball and some of the movement on that pitch. Like I said, it does have a batting average against of 273, so it hasn't necessarily been a dominant pitch. Curveball does have a 36% whiff rate, which is a 12th in all of baseball. Everyone saw that curveball he threw to Ozzie Albies that was really nasty. Ozzie Albies let go of the bat, flew out of the camera. So when you go to vertical numbers, so we've talked about induced vertical break, which is a number you look at for fastballs. We talked about horizontal break when we talk about Dustin May's sinker and stuff like that. We're going to look at vertical drop on all curveballs in all of baseball, which of course shows the amount of the movement that the ball drops. Yamamoto has the 13th best curveball in baseball when it comes to vertical drop. And when you look at vertical break, his curveball is 13th in all of baseball with an average vertical break of 16.5 inches. So not only does Yamamoto have a really nasty splitter, he's got a really good curveball that drops as well as anyone's in baseball. Tyler Glasnow's right ahead of him at 12, and then Jack Dreyer is actually up there at 10. So He's got a really nasty splitter. He's got a really nasty curveball. Again, he just continues to pound the strike zone. Doesn't throw pitches in the heart of the zone very often. He gets a ton of ground balls and a ton of swings and misses. All that adds up to one of the 3 best pitchers in the game this year. I think he's been the best pitcher in baseball, certainly in the National League. He is the favorite to finish second behind Paul Skeens, but I think the next time we see Yamamoto pitch in Atlanta, he'll be starting the All-Star game this year. Let's really quickly, before we go to Game 2, talk about Mookie Betts. I just wanted to give him some credit. Mookie, of course, went deep in this game, which I predicted, so that's really nice to see. Part of the reason I picked Mookie Betts is because I thought he was heating up. He looked really good against the Marlins. Kind of had been struggling for a few weeks, swinging and missing a little bit. If you go back to his last 30 games, he's hitting .259 with a .346 on base and a .440 slug, which is not really bad by any means, but it's not Mookie Betts territory. And I just want to give him some credit. In his last 7 games, he's got a .357 average, a .387 on base, and a .571 slug. Gives him a .958 OPS. That's much more in line with what Mookie Betts has done throughout his career. Again, I don't know if he'll finish with an OPS of .958, but Mookie Betts normally has an OPS in the high 800s, low 900s. If it's one of his better years, it'll be in the high 900s. So, again, it's a small sample size, 7 games, but he's continued to play well defensively at shortstop even through all those struggles. And he's been heating up offensively at the plate, which is what you want to see because he's really important for the Dodgers. So just wanted to give him a little bit of credit. So let's go ahead and go to Game 2. Saturday night, this was May 3rd, Roki Sasaki versus Spencer Schwellenbach. Of course, the game was delayed a few hours because of the rain. First pitch, the game was about to start. They put the tarp on the field. Game gets basically delayed 3 hours, so that was a real bummer. But it was nice that the Dodgers still got the game in, so let's get into that game right now. We'll skip ahead to the second inning. An RBI ground out for Michael Conforto puts the Dodgers up 1-0. Later on in the bottom of the second, Eli White of the Braves would triple and to tie up the game. Then in the third inning, Shohei Ohtani homers off of Schwellenbach to dead center, puts the Dodgers up 2-1, his 8th home run of the year. Later on in that inning, Teoscar Hernandez would single to make it 3-1 Dodgers. Then Mookie Betts, like we talked about, has been heating up. He doubles down the left field line. Now it's 4-1 Dodgers. Freddie Freeman just does what he always does, slaps a single to left field, 5-1 Dodgers. Then on another Teoscar Hernandez at bat, error by the pitcher Aaron Bummer allowed another run to score. Then Will Smith would single and make it 7-1. Later on in the fourth inning, Ozzie Albies takes Sasaki deep, so it's now 7-2 Dodgers. Then Nick Allen would double and make it 7-3. It would remain 7-3 for a little bit, all the way to the top of the 8th, where then Freddie Freeman stays red hot, homers to dead center, puts the Dodgers now up 10-3. That score would hold. The Dodgers would win by a score of 10-3. Sasaki gets his first big league win. He goes 5 innings. Anthony Banda for 1.1, Kirby Yates for 0.2, Alex Vesia for 1, and then Luis Garcia for 1. So we'll quickly talk about Sasaki. He goes 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, only 4 strikeouts. So kind of continues to struggle to get a bunch of whiffs. But again, he threw 98 pitches, which is a new career high. Did only have the 2 walks. Kind of struggled with his command early on, but like I said, was able to lock it in to get only 2 walks. Fastball velocity was a little bit down. We talked about 2 starts ago against the Rangers, it was down. Then his last start, which was against the Pirates, it was back up. Was a little bit back down in this game, so it seems like Sasaki's velocity is going to be something that kind of fluctuates throughout the year. Again, did max out at 97 miles an hour, so it's not like he can't get back up to high 90s, but it's kind of been one of the stories about him is that his velocity fluctuates. But he only had 6 whiffs in the game. So Sasaki continues to not really get many swings and misses. He used to just slowly progress. He managed his way through the game. Like I said, he got through 5 innings, was able to limit the Braves to just 3 runs, 6 hits, did get 4 strikeouts. So, again, not that much to talk about Sasaki. Here now he's got an ERA of 3.86 in 30 innings. He's got 24 strikeouts. He's still while he's gotten better with his command, his walk rate is at 49%, 17% K rate, just under 18%. So still got good velocity and he's still got good extension, but other than that, he's kind of struggled with a lot of other things. Now, again, I don't want to criticize Sasaki too much. He's figured out a way to have an ERA under 4. He's been improving, getting better, managing these games. So I don't want to talk too much about Sasaki, but he does deserve credit for continuously getting better. But so far earlier in the year, he has been a little bit underwhelming, and he's kind of been a little bit, honestly, boring in a kind of neutral way. He hasn't been really bad or anything like that, but he also hasn't been very good. Like I said, the swing and miss numbers are really poor, which kind of is a downer because of the great stuff he possesses in that wicked splitter. He's a little bit of a confusing pitcher so far in his early career. I think that the walk numbers will get better, but so far the velocity fluctuates like we talked about. The splitter is such a nasty pitch and gets really good swing and miss numbers, but for some reason it just doesn't lead to a lot of overall swings and miss numbers. He doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. The slider has been really good, but again, that doesn't necessarily lead to a lot of swing and miss numbers overall. Really, the biggest thing for him has just been his fastball. He continues to not be able to get whiffs on the four-seam fastball. Fastball has a batting average against of 232 and an expected batting average of 300. It only has an 11% whiff rate. And again, to put that in perspective, his splitter has a batting average against of 156, expected 191. It's got a 39% whiff rate. And then his slider, which has gotten a hit around a little bit more the last couple starts, batting average against of 273, expected 262, but it's got a 34% whiff rate, so it's not a bad pitch for him by any means. The splitter continues to be dominant and to be really good, but he just continues to not really have any swing and miss at all on his four-seam fastball, and that seems to be the thing that he is missing right now, and that seems to be the thing that is kind of holding him back from some really good swing and miss numbers or anything like that. So again, it's a credit to how talented he is, how good he is, and still how young he is, that he's still developing. He's still kind of figuring out his way. Like I said, he's still kind of figuring it out. He's still kind of figuring out his pitch mix. There's times where he is heavy on the splitter, heavier on the slider than sometimes heavy on the fastball. In this game, he threw 53 fastballs, 31 splitters, 14 sliders, so the slider usage came down. So, again, I've said it before, I think he's got to add a sinker. I think he's got to add a cutter. I think one of the interesting things is that his splitter and his slider are too similar. They're both around the same speeds. His splitter is 84 miles an hour and the slider is 82. And a lot of times, because of the way his splitter is so nasty and it moves a lot, it looks like his splitter is a slider at times. Obviously, you could just look at the spin rate and you'll know the difference because the spin rate is so low. But it's a really good pitch. I really think Sasaki needs to add a cutter or just a harder slider, because I think right now he's got the pretty good fastball in terms of velocity, but his two off-speed pitches are about the same in terms of velocity, and it's not really fooling any hitters right now. Again, the splitter's been really good and gets good whiff numbers. He's just got to figure something out. I think he needs a harder slider, something in the high 80s, 86, 87, something like that. Or he needs a cutter in the low 90s, maybe a sinker to go along with that. So a lot of things to figure out with his pitch mix. Again, I don't think he's been bad by any means. He's just been a little bit underwhelming and a little bit boring. Like I said, kind of in a good and a bad way. Boring that he hasn't been exciting or his starts haven't been really fun to watch. But he's also good that he's been boring because there hasn't been much to talk about him in a negative way. It's really just been his command at times and not really getting any swing and miss. So that's it from Sasaki. Congrats for him on getting his first big league win. I fully believe in him, and I think he's going to continue to get better, and I think at some point he'll figure out the swing and miss. It's just a little bit surprising that it's that bad right now, that he's not getting any whiffs at all. He's in the 23rd percentile in whiff percentage, 23rd percentile in K percentage. So he's definitely been a little bit lucky so far this year to have an ERA at 3.86, but it shows off. It's a testament to how talented he is and how much he's progressed so far. So Before we get into game 3, I just wanted to talk about the Dodgers offense really quickly and some numbers to back up how much better they've been. So I talked about a few podcasts ago. This was probably a few weeks ago. I was a little bit concerned about the Dodgers offense. This might have been after the Dodgers-Cubs series. A lot of the Dodgers numbers were about league average or even a little bit below there. They were swinging and missing a lot. They were very home run reliant. They weren't walking too much, and they weren't very great with some their on-base numbers. But they've been very hot since then, so I just wanted to just give them a lot of credit. Right now, their overall league rankings, they are 4th in batting average. They are 4th in on-base percentage. They are 3rd in slugging percentage. They are 3rd in OPS. In terms of team weighted runs created plus, league average is 100, of course. They are 3rd at 179. Offensively, they've been a lot better the last few weeks. Of course, Andy Paz has a lot to do about that. Teoscar Hernandez has been on fire. Shohei's really turned it on the last couple weeks, as well as Freddie Freeman's been incredible all year. And then, of course, Mookie Betts the last week has been a lot better. Again, guys like Will Smith have been very consistent. Tommy Edman has continued to be great. Of course, he wasn't in this series, but the Dodgers offense right now is clicking. They're raking. Like we said, they put up 10 runs in this game, of course, hitting a lot of home runs, but also they're very good. They're the best team when it comes to runners in scoring position. They have a batting average over 300 when it comes to runners in scoring position. So that's very key to the Dodgers. There's been some years where the Dodgers are a very good team and they're not good with runners in scoring position. And then there's been years where they have really good teams and they are good with runners in scoring position. And it always bodes well for them. Of course, when you hit well with runners in scoring position, that's a key with every team. But they are the best in baseball at that so far. And then some of the Dodgers rankings. This is since April 15th, so a decent amount of time. They have the 7th best walk percentage, but in terms of K percentage, they are 19th. In terms of batting average, they're 4th. On base percentage, they are 4th. Slugging percentage, they are 3rd. OPS, they are 2nd. So the last few weeks, the offense has gotten a lot better, and I think it's what the offense is capable of and a lot of what we'll see throughout the season. Again, they won't go through they won't go through a stretch like this for the entire season. There are times where slumps will come, of course, like always. But the offense has been much better, kind of what you thought the offense would be from the beginning of the season when it comes to with the Dodgers' really loaded lineup. And right now, a lot of the guys in the lineup are clicking, with the exception of a few guys. Of course, Muncy and Conforto have struggled. They've really been the only guys who have struggled for the Dodgers so far. Muncy has gotten better, slowly has gotten better throughout the series, but Conforto has continued to be really bad. So that's all we'll really talk about when it comes to the offense. It's really nice that they're clicking right now. They're walking, they're hitting home runs, they're hitting with runners in scoring position. So situationally, they're hitting well, which bodes well for the playoffs. So we'll move on to Game 3. Of course, Game 3, which was on Sunday, which was today, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Dustin May, ironically, gets the start. He goes up against Bryce Elder of the Braves. We talked about it in the preview pod, in the preview series podcast. Dodgers had a lot of good numbers against Elder, and they bode well against him. But he pitched pretty well in this game. We'll go ahead to the bottom of the first inning. Austin Riley hits a 2-run homer off of Dustin May, got a hanging sweeper. Then in the third inning, almost like a replay, Austin Riley hits another 2-run homer off of Dustin May off another sweeper. So now the Braves go up 4-0. We'll skip ahead to the fourth inning. Max Muncy gets the Dodgers on the board. He hits a double. Dodgers are now down 4-1. Later on in the sixth inning, another Max Muncy RBI. He hits an RBI ground out, so the Dodgers cut the lead in half. It's now 4-2. Then Miguel Rojas pinch hits later in the game, hits a home run to left field, so now it's a 4-3 game. Andy Pages starts off the inning with an infield single. Then Haesung Kim comes in to pinch run. He then steals second. So the Dodgers have the tying run in scoring position with nobody out. But then Will Smith strikes out, pitch in the dirt. Haesung Kim actually moves from second to third. So really good base running in his series debut. But then, of course, Miguel Rojas, with one out, strikes out and then Austin Barnes comes up and strikes out. So the Dodgers lose by a score of 4-3. Their 7-game win streak ends there. Dustin May for 5.2, Jack Dreyer for 1/3 of an inning, Luis Garcia for 2/3 of an inning, and then Anthony Bonda for 1.1. Bryce Elder goes 5 innings, allows 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. He gets the win. So Dodgers, like I said, lose. Kind of unfortunate when your game comes down to Miguel Rojas and Austin Barnes. No shots at them. It's just they haven't performed well this year, so they both strike out to give the Braves the win. Not a whole lot to talk about with this game. The Dodgers, once again, when they lose a game, they are at least in it. They had the tying run in scoring position, just weren't able to cash in. Overall, it was still a really good weekend. Just quickly, we'll talk about Dustin May. It kind of continues his stretch of performances. Ever since he had that really good start against the Rockies, his best start of the season and one of his best starts in years. Ever since then, he's been kind of hasn't gotten a lot of swing and miss. Has gotten hit hard a little bit, but again, not hit too hard. He did have 8 whiffs in the game, 4 on the sweeper, 3 on the sinker, and then 1 on the four-seamer. But again, he continues to kind of leave some pitches in the heart of the plate. He left 2 sweepers in the heart of the plate to Austin Riley. His sinker is not getting swings and misses, and his four-seamer is not getting as much swings and misses as it was early on in the year. So I'll give you his final line, of course. I did not do that. Dustin May goes 5.2, gives up 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Overall, I don't think it was a bad performance by Dustin May. He just left 2 pitches over the heart of the plate to Austin Riley. Other than that, he was pretty solid. That brings his ERA up to 4.36. So he's continued to kind of struggle with a mix of not getting enough swing and miss. Again, he's never going to be a guy who gets a ton of swing and miss. We've always talked about that. But when he's not getting any swings and misses, he's having a lot of contact. And when his command is a little bit off and he has some base runners, that's going to lead to runs. Again, he gave up the 2 home runs in this game, so it wasn't like there were many rallies against him. But he's got a lot of pitches that are moving all over the place. The sweeper's still been really good. Those are the first 2 home runs he's given up on the sweeper all year. So Dustin May, I still believe in him. I think he's going to bounce back eventually. He's just got to figure some things out. Sometimes his pitch mix gets a little messed up. He relies heavy on the sweeper. Sometimes it takes him a while to kind of lock in the command on that pitch. So when he doesn't have the sweeper kind of over the heart of the plate or breaking over the heart of the plate and away from a right-handed hitter to get some chase or some weak contact, he kind of has to rely on the sinker, which sometimes he'll leave over the heart of the plate. And then he hasn't thrown his cutter and changeup too much this year, so he kind of relies heavy on having the really good sweeper, which he normally does. He just made 2 mistakes in this game, so I think Dustin May will get a little bit better as the starts go on. He's obviously finding his way, coming back from all these surgeries and all the injuries he's had, but kind of like Roki Sasaki, he's been in a little bit of a stretch of some not so much to talk about. He gave a good enough performance to keep the Dodgers in it, but again, was not very dominant by any means. So that's pretty much it from this game and pretty much it from this series. So overall, a really good series from the Dodgers. It was, of course, a little unfortunate that they lost the last game, but they take 2 of 3. They won 7 in a row before that game. So they have the best record in baseball. Now they are looking like the best team in baseball. Their pitching has been a lot better as of late, and the offense has been really carrying lately, as well as the defense getting a little bit better. So the Dodgers are going to go into Miami to play the Marlins. I'm not going to do a series preview because they just played the Marlins. And some really good news, I'll be in Miami for these series, so I'll be watching the Dodgers up close and personal. I'll be at this series to watch some games. So look forward to some nice vlog videos that I'll be dropping. I'm going to take some footage at the games, make some cool videos out of it. So hopefully you guys can see that and see what it's like to watch the Dodgers in person. Hopefully we'll get a lot of good footage pregame, postgame, and stuff like that. So that's really exciting to look forward to. I'm excited to see the Dodgers in person. So tomorrow, which is Monday, game 1 of that series will be Alcantara versus Ben Kasparius, which is nice that he'll get a start. So Quickly before we close up, I know I'm a little bit all over the place, but Tommy Edman went on the IL before this series. We talked about it before this series that he had an ankle issue. So he goes on the 10-day IL. It was retroactive to a couple days before. So he is eligible to come off the IL next Friday, which would be in Arizona. So, of course, Ha-Seong Kim got the call to come up Saturday. Now, he didn't get any starts, so that will be interesting to see if he does get a start in the Miami series. They kind of came out and said they don't expect him to play too much, which is kind of confusing to me. If you're going to call him up, why not let him play? I'm not going to talk too much about Ha-Seong Kim yet. He hasn't played in a game in terms of starting or getting an at-bat, so he's just been a defensive replacement in this game 2, which was a blowout, and then he pinch ran in this game. So hopefully he gets a chance to start in some of these games in Miami, and then we can talk about him a little bit more. Clayton Kershaw continues his rehab. They're saying it looks like he's going to be ready for May 18th, so that's really exciting that in about 2 weeks we'll be talking about Clayton Kershaw. So that's going to wrap up episode 19. Thank you guys for listening. Really good series from the Dodgers. We'll look for them to continue the hot offense and the solid starting pitching against the Marlins. Got to take advantage of a pretty bad team. Dodgers took advantage of them last week, so hopefully that will continue. They'll go to Miami, and then they'll go to Arizona. So, like I said, I'll be there in Miami, so I'll have some videos for you guys to see. That's going to be really fun. So, look forward to that. So, thank you guys for listening. As always, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on social media at Talking Blue Pod. You can follow my personal account at Talking Blue Nick. Follow us on Reddit as well at competitive-week8715. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys at the conclusion of the Marlins series with the Dodgers this upcoming week.